Luther King Jr., he is a well-educated person, and he could have lead a decent life here in this country that time. But he chose to change a culture which was not good for the people. That thing, like even though slavery was outlawed several decades, actually centuries before, but it was a practice. Segregation was a practice. So Martin Luther King invested himself. He wanted to change this practice. So he totally immersed into that cause. But that he also embraced a lot of difficulties. His life afterwards, it wasn't a smooth life. He had to face severe persecution. But finally, he brought result. And now we are living a much, much better world. This country is way beyond better because of that single man's conviction. And he had to face difficulties from everywhere, from authorities, from some of his own people, and from everywhere. But he continued, and that's why we are able to live in this kind of world. And same thing with the Nelson Mandela. He is actually from a royal family, and he could avoid the difficulties of this oppressive rule there, but he thought, I'm going to make a difference. This is not the way this country can be ruled forever. I want to change. So he also got him involved into that cause. So he was kind of welcoming a lot of difficulties for him. He was manhunted, and also he was in prison continuously for 27 years. But at the end, this colonial rule, they had to give up, and then they actually reconciled. It wasn't an fierce battle or anything, but they were able to reconcile, and they had right now the South African situation is much, much better. Nobody could imagine this is going to happen. Then again, with Abraham Lincoln, few centuries back, he lived in this country. He was a great leader of this country. When this country could not imagine that slavery could be abolished, he did that. It wasn't an easy thing. It was so difficult for him to convince the people of that time we can function without slavery. The people of that time, they thought, without slavery, this country cannot function. Without free workers, they cannot function. But he was so convinced that this is possible. He was convinced that each and every human being on this earth have equal rights to live on this earth. And he made that law possible, and then based on that later we have equality. We live in a country way beyond better than that time. And not only this country, whole world was able to go beyond this bad practice because of these people. And we actually, other people you all mentioned, like Mother Teresa, and who else? Several other people you all brought up. All these people have very certain similarities. Actually, some of the great qualities they have, all of them possess these great qualities. Can you share some? Can you figure out what do they have in common? What drives them to do these kind of things? Did somebody ask them to do?
Justice.
They believe in justice. Anything else? They had a vision. What's that? Fearlessness, yes. They were fearless. And they lived for the sake of others. Yes, that's right. Anything else? Yeah, that's also true. In morning also somebody said, they all, actually we can see, all these people believed in God. Anything else? Who? But you didn't say any of... Yeah, he gave up everything. But what I was kind of trying to find, like when you talk about a great leader, who pop up our mind very, very quickly. And even though Buddha, actually, even though he didn't believe in God as a person, he kind of believed God as a great consciousness, and maybe he didn't even believe in that term God itself, but some kind of consciousness he believed. Yep. Pardon? Yeah, some kind of universal energy which is kind of triggering towards the goodness of the world. What's that? That's interesting. They lived by example. That's true. They lived that dream and example they had. They show that example to other people. Actually, what I wanted to figure out that I wanted to talk about, actually including whatever you mentioned, it's there. They all believed, they all wanted to live for the sake of others. They wanted to invest themselves, and they were fearless, and they had compassion, and they believed in justice. And again, also, I could see that when they lived at that time, this world wasn't the way they wanted to be. They believed in a world which they could not live. Abraham Lincoln believed in a world where slavery is no more there. But when he was living, when he born into a culture where slavery was the norm, and here Gandhi was born into a country which was under colonial rule for almost 200 years. I think I don't remember exactly, sorry, but so many centuries it was under colonial rule. And also so many people wanted to fight against, and they all failed. So in a way we could see, oh, that's an impossible dream to believe. Again, Nelson Mandela also, I don't exactly know how many years South Africa was under colonial rule, but he believed in something he could not experience in his life. But he believed, I'm going to attain that. I'm going to achieve that. And then he shared that vision with other people. Same as Martin Luther King Jr. He believed in a vision which he could not experience while he was making that vision. He believed that. And he was convinced that it is possible to achieve that. And that's the great difference between these great leaders and many other people. We can see in this country of America, I think, how many presidents you have? 40 or 42? How many? This is the 44th. And when we ask about this, how many great leaders we have, actually two of the presidents came up here, JFK and Abraham Lincoln. We talk about that. Why haven't we talked about anyone else? Because this George Washington, yeah, that's true, last time, yeah. Anyway, these had that some people distinguished themselves from others because they had a vision which they did not even experience in their prior life, but they were convinced that this is possible to achieve. And they did not daydream that all throughout the day, and then say that, wow, I wish it could have come, this dream, my dream could have become true. If it have come true, I could live a better life. They did not just wish like that, but they worked tirelessly. They all got themselves immersed into the struggle in order to achieve that vision, in order to achieve that dream. They shared that dream with the thousands of people. One by one, they shared that dream. And that's why we are able to enjoy freedom. We are able to enjoy a better living condition. We are able to enjoy equality in our society. And again, I want to talk about, I think Mathoba mentioned about true parents, no? Isn't it? True father. And true parents and Jesus also, they also exactly same like this. When they born into this earth, or they received this great mission from God, they never experienced this equality, creating a world where each and every human being are equal to each other. It never existed before. But they believed it's possible. And they believed we are going to create that. And just like other leaders, where I talk about these leaders, there's 3 or 4 leaders we talked about earlier, they all believed in that vision, but that vision did not alienate themselves from that oppressed community. They lived with them. They were traveling with them. They were visiting these people all around the country. Gandhi was traveling all around India, visiting these different communities and talking about what is freedom mean for them. So many people, they could not understand, they could not imagine a world where British rule is not there. Within India, we had actually people were arguing that, no, we can't do that. India is not ready to do that. We need to have this government. But Gandhi was traveling all around India. Then he planted the seed of a better community, a better life, a life with freedom there. But of course, that wasn't an easy thing. We had to go through, immediately after freedom, we had to go through a lot of struggles. But finally, we are who we are just because of that one man. And he shared that vision with everyone by traveling around, then living together with them. He wasn't living separately from these people, but he always lived with the people, experienced what they need, and then again giving the vision he had to that people. That's why he was able to lead that massive freedom struggle in the whole world. And that itself kind of re-energize so many other freedom struggles of the world. That's why somehow that's the way Gandhi led that, by living with the people, walking together with people, and facing all the difficulties of that people together with them. And that's how he led them. And same way, true parents started. And Jesus started same way. They lived with us. Jesus was walking all around the world, not all around the world, but all around Galilee and that area of the world, then telling them what we can achieve if we believe in the promise of God, and if we keep that promise, and if keep that practices in our life. So we have this greatest religion, Christianity now. And again, our true parents came to this world and started this movement when we did not believe creating God-centered families was possible. Unifying Christianity was possible. Unifying all religions were possible. Nobody could believe that, but true parents were talking about that. True parents started started their ministry by preaching to every Christian congregation, saying that you all have to work together. You all have to work together so that God can truly function in the lives of people, so that the world can become one family under God. And then again, Father started talking that all the religions have to be united. All religions are created by God in order to bring people closer to God. It wasn't easy. Nobody talked about that before Father. And there was not an example Father could learn from. But true parents believed we are going to do that. We can achieve that. That's how Father came to us. True parents came to us one by one, traveled all around the world and planted the seed of that vision into people so that we believe, we join. Okay, we are going to join with you. We are going to give our life for you. We are going to give our life for this cause so that the world can be better, so that the world will be a better place, and so that each and every human being who lives on this earth will be able to lead a better life, will be able to enjoy a better life. But let us look back to those leaders who were heading up those freedom struggles. Was that an easy thing? Did that happen as soon as they decided that I'm going to do it, I'm going to achieve it? Was it easy? It wasn't easy. It was a fierce struggle for them. And most of them did not really take up arms, but it was so difficult for them. They have to strive for that. They have to fully invest themselves. They had to give up even their life in order to achieve that. For our true parents also, it wasn't an easy task. They believed in creating God-centered families, but the world could not understand that. The world did not believe in that. The world was going to say, oh, marriage, wedding, and families, that doesn't mean anything. That's something else. Forget about that. That was the culture. Even still we have that. But true parents succeeded. They went through and they truly step up and travel with us, led us towards that ideal society. And that's why we have this community now. But again, if we look into the world right now, we can see it's not yet done. It's still almost same, but with a big difference. We are creating something. We have something right now. A few months back, actually, I was talking to couple of people. Then they mentioned to us that, oh, this is not the church I joined. I joined with a great vision, but that's not happening. I'm kind of wondering whether I need to invest myself for this. And I'm wondering whether it is going to happen or not. And to be honest, I feel that many times. And I feel, oh, it's still very difficult. Are we ever going to achieve that God-centered world for everyone? Yes. That's true. Exactly, we are. But several times that thought coming to us, and it's almost telling us that give up that. It's not going to happen. Give up that. You are kind of wasting your time, you're wasting your life, and it's not going to happen. That kind of thoughts so many times come to us. I feel, as I was studying the biography of Dr. Martin Luther King, I read that he also was attacked by severe depression many times in his life. Probably because of this kind of thoughts. Maybe saying that, oh, it's not going to happen anywhere. Why do you waste your life? Give up that and go and enjoy your life. Those kind of things come up. But imagine what would happen if Gandhi did that in his life. If Nelson Mandela did that in his life. And if Dr. Martin Luther King did that in his life. If Abraham Lincoln did that in his life, give up what they were doing, how would be the world right now? What would be the situation of the world right now? Do you think India have independence? We are only 60 years ago we received that. Do you think without Mandela's investment, South Africa would have been like this right now? I don't think so. Without Abraham Lincoln's investments, this country would not have been like this. This country could not enjoy this life we have right now. And without our true parents' investments, we could not have been here. And our true parents mentioned to us, give a calling to us, give a call to us saying that, or even anointed us as that the small messiahs, or tribal messiahs. And giving us, true parents ask us to do the same thing in our own circle of influence, where we can influence people. And even in here, so many times when we talk about leadership, what people talking about is some people who run a country, people who run an organization, run a business. And often, when you think about that, we may think they are leaders, but in fact, they are not. They are managers. They are people who manage things. For example, several times you see big CEOs of different businesses, they give up a job, then get into another job. Do you know why do they do that? Money. They want better money and they want secure job. So they think sometimes they even though they work in those companies, they analyze the financial health of the company. If they see this company is going to be in danger, they say, oh, better I give up and grab another job. Let me find another opportunity. That's the way many times managers does. And that's the way many times people who are supposed to be leaders of the country does. They become managers, and then if they get something well-packed, nice package, they say, okay, let me enjoy this leadership. But that's not leadership. Leadership means leading to something which never existed before with the people, walking together with people towards something which never existed, but existing in the minds and hearts of those people. That's what leadership means. For us also, when Father anointed us as leaders of the world, leaders of our tribe, leaders of our families, which means that, Father, give us that vision of that amazing family we can create, that amazing community we can create, that amazing country we can build, that amazing world we can build. But it is still some part in our mind. Still we are walking towards that. But we are not like managers of some companies looking to jump from one to another one if we get a better deal. Have you seen things like that happen sometime? In many companies that happens. And even in our own, sometimes Satan give us or test us with his trick, saying that, oh, this is not going to happen anytime. Just you better find your own life. So give up. That kind of stimulation come to our mind. Sometimes I heard from people saying that, oh, we don't feel like investing anymore. We invested, but this is not a job, or this is not like we are managing something, but we are giving our life in order to pass something better for our children. Create something better for our future generation. For the world, we want to make a better world. That's what we committed to our two parents. We committed in front of God. We committed, each and every one of us committed to God. And in order to be that kind of leader, we don't have to be someone like Gandhi. We don't have to be a great international figure like Nelson Mandela. We don't have to be a great person like a world famous person like Dr. Martin Luther King. We have to have leadership in our families. Leadership means when we are in crisis, we are being there to save people from that situation to a better situation. That's what these great leaders did. Mahatma Gandhi became a leader because he saw his people were suffering from that problem that time we had. And Nelson Mandela also same thing. He get immersed into that problem. And same like that, when we have a problem, if we have a problem in our family, we cannot avoid that. We have to focus and we have to get our immersed into that so that we can resolve. And maybe that problem is in our community. If we run away from that, will we ever able to resolve that? Do you think? We have to stick with that, and then we say, I am going to change this. I am going to make this, my town, a better town. I'm not going to run away because this town has some problem. Sorry. Right now, in this world, each and every families need leadership. Each and every community, each and every school, our businesses, our country, and the whole world need people who understand what is leadership. Leadership means, as you said earlier, it's care towards other people. It's concern towards other people. And it's the willingness to live with people who are suffering. It's our willingness to lead these people who are suffering towards a better place. That's what leadership. That sometimes we may be able to use that kind of leadership qualities in our families. When one of our sibling or one of our partner have difficulty, we have to be there as a leader. Not by saying that, yeah, you're my wife, but if you are good, I'll be good for you. If you are good, we can make a good family. But if you are not so good, I'm going to give up this. Sometimes that is the norm of the marriages in this country. Not only this country, the whole world, the norm of marriages is that giving up and looking for better and better, that better thing never come. Only thing we can do is stay with that and make it good, so that our children will inherit and they will make a better family, and their children will even make even better family. That's the way we change our culture. That's what true parents wanted to change, and they are still trying to do that. And that's what actually we are commanded to do. And one of the greatest blessing true parents gave us is that even we had this motto, through world peace, through ideal families, isn't it? We believe in that, and we believe that this is possible to achieve, and we have to, but it doesn't come just like that. When you wave a magic wand like that, it doesn't come like that. We have to implement our leadership qualities. Leadership qualities means care towards the other person in the family, care towards other person in our community, care towards other person in our neighborhood, maybe somebody else in our town, maybe some of your friends in your school. You have to care them. Sometimes you may have to share that vision you have with them. They may not be able to understand that, but still, only if you do that, we will be able to, as a community, as a group of people who believe in that ideal, we can achieve that. Otherwise, if we don't share that vision, or we don't lead those people towards the ideal, this is never going to happen. So today, I really want to ask that in today's scriptural reading, it says that we are going to do a lot of love, and we are going to do a lot of care towards our fellow men. Only then we are able to make an ideal community here, an ideal world here. And we are anointed to do that. Today, I really want to encourage you, and on this first week of June, think about how much you could do for other people in your circle, in people who are probably your family members or your neighbors or anyone. How you can really care about them. How you can really give the vision of an ideal community or an ideal world to them, and walk with them day by day, step by step, lead them towards that ideal. How can you do that? And everywhere we can do that. Unless and until we do that, it's never going to happen. So on this Sunday morning, I really want to encourage all of you. I know you are committed to do that, and I want you to really do that with a more vibrant and active way. Share that love you receive from God and true parents with other people, so that we will be able to really become this true leader in our area, wherever we are. True leader, be a true leader where you are, so that the world will change. Wherever you are, wherever there is I remember some years back, I read an article in a newspaper. Actually, it was from India. While one mother was working outside in their garden, suddenly somehow that house got fire, and her child was inside the home, and generally so many people would run away. It's a very simple housewife, and she suddenly ran into the house in order to save that child. Why did she did that? She loved that child, and she know it's her child, and she felt this is my role, this is my responsibility, and that's where she went and she saved that child. With a lot of burnings happened to her. That's what true leadership means. It's true leadership never run away from problems, but with the true compassion and true love towards other people, they get immersed into problems and then turn around that problem into a real wonderful time for the future. From problem to a great future, that's what true leadership means. In order to do that, get in everywhere, not run away, never give up that. If we give up, that would be the biggest coward, what is it called, cowardness? Yep, you said that for me. That's what we need to do. True leadership with courage and passion. Thank you so much. I know all of you are doing that, but I want to encourage you. I want to thank all of you for doing that, and with a real, great, amazing spirit, please do that continuously. And thank you so much. May God bless you.